the Pocophone. None other than the, I'd say, most spoken about phone on the internet. Definitely the one that had the most public attention because of its killer specs and killer price to go along with it. So this phone comes along with a Snapdragon 845, 6 or 8 gigs of RAM depending on your storage configuration, and it has a 1080p screen with 4000 milliamp hour battery and a dual camera system. Now this phone is, I was not going to review this, I was not going to cover it, I didn't care about it, but I saw MKBHD's video and the blind camera test one, and I just knew I had to get my hands on one. The thing is though, you know, as I've been doing this for a little bit, the one thing I absolutely hate is covering devices that have very toxic communities, and let me be real, you know, I'm sure that there is some Pocophone fan out there who is going to be, you know, disliking the video and commenting very mean things about me. But the reality is the majority of this phone's fan base are very defensive. They don't like any criticism, and anything you say can get you basically crucified. Nonetheless, you know, that being said, I'm just gonna get to unboxing the phone and seeing what this is all about. So, very clean design, by the way. I forgot to completely mention this. Very clean design. The back is yellow. There is this black accent, sorry, the black box with the yellow accents, and then the back is yellow as well. This phone is made in India, which is very cool. A lot of these Chinese brands are moving into making phones in India, and that's just a nice little move because that helps them kind of gain a little bit of traction with the Indian community. Come on. And all right, so similar to your iPhones, you got the paperwork on top. I got the 64 gig steel blue edition of this phone, and I'm gonna put that to the side for a second. Here's the Pocophone. I'm gonna try to bring this out. There we go. Pocophone here. Here's the charger, cable, and SIM card tool right here. Okay, that doesn't come out. That's just in there, and you can pull the SIM card tool out. So let's look at, first off, what comes in this box. So you got your user guide, you got a warranty information packet, and a case. So seems to be a plastic case. Yes, it is. It's a nice little clear cover. I think it's gonna look really nice with if you get like a bright color like the red. Let's look at the power brick. So it is a USB A to, I'm gonna guess, C. Yes, USB A to C. It does seem to be a fast charger. So it is a no, it is not a fast charger. Okay, no, it is. So scratch that. This is a fast charger. If you notice on the top right here, there is a Qualcomm Quick Charge 3 logo. The information here down here wasn't clear enough for me, so that's why I kind of made that mistake. But let's, one cool thing about this phone is that it did adopt USB-C. A lot of phones I still see are kind of hesitating to move towards USB-C, which I completely don't understand. And here is the phone. This is the Pocophone in steel blue, 64 gigs with 6 gigs of RAM, and it cost me a grand total of $257, all in, with tax, everything. So this phone was on discount, it was on sale. I picked it up, 18,500 rupees. If you follow me on social media, you probably saw the post. And I wasn't going to buy this phone. I never had the intention of buying this phone, but the community just seemed, the tech community seems to be so obsessed with the fact that this $300 phone seemingly gives you every single thing that a $10,000 phone can give you. So I kind of want to see, from my perspective of being a flagship user, of using Samsung flagships, Apple flagships, Google flagships, what it's like to come down to a Poco. And I've used a lot of OnePluses as well, so it's going to be a nice comparison point for me to see what it's like. So let me get rid of all this plastic. All right. Come on. So this is a dual camera phone. The secondary camera is more for depth information. It is not a telephoto or wide angle lens. Would have preferred it to be that, but I think that's kind of the common consensus anytime you get a lens that is not telephoto or wide angle. SIM card tray right up here. So this is a a hybrid SIM slot. You can either have 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card and expandable storage, which I think that's probably the best way to go about it nowadays. You do get 64, 128, 256 gig storage options. The back is a polycarbonate plastic. Doesn't it feels nice, to be very honest with you. It doesn't give you that feeling of plastic. It's matte finished, so it feels nice. Very comparable to the finish of the OnePlus 6's back, the midnight black one especially. The sides, you got the power, volume up, volume down. These are okay. And let's get rid of the screen protector and boot the phone up. Let's see what the screen is like, because that's something that I'm the most interested about, is how the screen is going to look like on this phone. Poco by Xiaomi. So it does have that Apple-esque notch with a chin at the bottom, and powered by Android. I am wondering what version of Android it runs. So MIUI 9. As I said before, not a fan of MIUI. It is what it is. All right, let me go through the setup process really quickly. So this phone does support dual VoLTE. I don't have a SIM card right now, but it does support 2 SIM cards that are on VoLTE, so that's a good thing. So it has a lot of very cool, unique, and helpful features, that is for sure. One thing I am definitely not liking is the notch. I'm sorry, the chin at the bottom. It is quite a lot larger when compared to most phones with a notch at the top, and not to mention this little navigation bar takes up a lot of space at the bottom. I say this is like, I don't even know exactly how to compare this metric to you guys, but it is a pretty large area of the phone where you really can't use anything. All right, let me sign in very quickly. All right, so I'm setting up the fingerprint. Seems pretty quick. So there we go. That was probably the fastest I've ever inputted a fingerprint. No. Do not want any of this. So Poco. So there is a special Poco theme instead of the default MIUI. Now, the thing about this MIUI is they have a lot of bloatware. They've got ads. They've got just a lot of junk, to be very honest with you. That is probably one of the bigger things. The hardware might be really good, but when it comes to software experience, you can definitely get better than MIUI. That's why I see a lot of people on threads and forums kind of just getting rid of MIUI. A lot of people flash other stuff. Some people just run Nova Launcher. That's probably, I'm not going to run anything. I'm going to run it as it is stock, because I feel like this is what the experience of the phone is like. So Poco Launcher all right. So there it is. Here is the Pocophone. But the one thing I do notice is that the notch up here with the iPhone, the screen goes all the way up to the very, very edge. This one, not very much. It cuts out a decent amount before. This is more comparable to the XR than the iPhone 10, I would say, when it comes to the notch design up above. But MIUI is definitely a little bit better now. It's not the same as it was before. I used it on the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, and I was not at all impressed with it. Hopefully this time around my experience is better with MIUI. Now, first impression of the display looks average, not bad at all. Definitely not, it's not an AMOLED panel, it's LCD, but it looks good. Let me see the brightness. Let me crank up the brightness and see how good it goes. So it gets decently bright as well. Overall, I think, the biggest reason why I wanted to pick this phone up was to see what it is like with this phone, because a lot of people are very vocal about their love for this phone and how this phone is better than every other phone on the market because it's cheaper. Generally, what is cheaper is not always best, and what is expensive is also not always the best. So it really comes down to see where this phone is cutting corners to be able to give you that aggressive price point while maintaining that very high spec list, which is what everybody really likes about this phone. The one thing I also really like to note about this phone is this is so OnePlus is becoming a lot more expensive recently. There was a time when it was a lot cheaper, very much so. And the Pocophone comes back into the range the OnePlus used to be, and the OnePlus has gone up quite a lot more. The Pocophone is replacing that. It's come down. It's significantly lower in price while maintaining the same spec. So one of my key factors when I'm looking at this phone from moving forward is how it compares to the OnePlus 6T and 6 as well. Let's see if it's really worth the upgrade to spend the extra money on the OnePlus, or if Poco is actually a better deal. So that wraps it up, guys. That was the unboxing and initial impressions on the Pocophone F1. I'm looking forward to getting to know this phone. Starting off, I think at this price point, we can forgive a lot of things that it does wrong. And I'm going to keep that in mind when I review this, but also as a flagship user, it's going to be interesting to see what trade-offs come in with a cheaper phone. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about the Pocophone F1. If you like my color choice, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Also, if there's anything in specific you want to see about the Pocophone, definitely comment down below. Thank you, guys.